Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got an interesting show set up for you. Yep, the civil lawsuit has been withdrawn against Jake Retzlaff. And where will Jake go? I'm not going to get heavy into the details on this. This is a very sensitive subject, but here is the news that's breaking on Jake.
This new now where attorneys from both sides have filed a motion now to dismiss the civil case against BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff. In the case, Retzlaff had been accused of sexual misconduct by an anonymous woman. Now, attorneys on both sides of the case are asking for the case to be dismissed, meaning it is effectively being thrown out pending approval by a judge. This news comes after reports broke that Retzlaff had informed BYU staff and fellow players that he intended to transfer out of the school.
All right, yeah, so the civil suit's been withdrawn, but here's the issue with BYU. They have a special rule to where if you've had premarital relations, you get suspended. So he's been suspended for 7 games because he had said it was consensual, etc. It's different versions of what happened. However, he was never charged by the police and the civil lawsuit's been withdrawn. So think of that what you will. You're welcome to go and look at the details yourself. I don't really have an opinion on that, nor will I be given an opinion on that situation. That is not my lane. However, there is a lot of talk that he may very well wind up at a place like Tennessee or Alabama, Notre Dame, etc. He is a very good quarterback. He showed up at BYU after kind of tearing up the JUCO league. He threw for 4,500 yards and 44 touchdowns in 2022. Then he transferred to BYU. As you can see, as a freshman, now this was at Golden West College, he threw for 3,300 yards, 23 touchdowns. They went 11-1. Then he went to Riverside College, threw for 4,500 and 44 touchdowns. So had crazy numbers, but that's JUCO. Then at BYU, after being rated the #1 JUCO, he played some in 2023. Then 2024 is when he took over. And he threw for 2,900 yards, 20 touchdowns. He did have 12 interceptions, had a rating of 136, which is pretty good. He didn't throw for a great completion rate, 58%, but he did run the ball for over 400 yards and added 6 more touchdowns with that. So he is a dual threat guy. Now, he's not, a 4.3 speed type dude or anything like that, but he's got a lot of moxie. And he had a couple of game-winning drives at the very end. So he's good at the end of the game when everything's on the line. So he's pretty clutch. Now, the question is, where will he wind up? And as I said earlier, there's a lot of talk about Tennessee. And we'll get into a story about the 5 landing spots, but I asked AI what it thought of the Jake Retzlaff going to Tennessee. Did that make any sense? And here's what artificial intelligence said. Why Tennessee is a potential landing spot. Talked about Tennessee's quarterback situation, of course, being uncertain with the Nico transfer. You've got Joey Aguilar. Obviously, they want a proven starter. Joey, we don't know. We don't know if he's going to be great. We don't know if he's good. The only person that has a good sense of that would probably be Josh Heupel at this point. But until the lights are on and you're playing in a Power 4 SEC situation, you don't know how he's going to do. You've also got Jake Merklinger behind him, who is a redshirt freshman, never played any important minutes, so we don't know about him. And then you've got a true freshman in George McIntyre, who he's 190 pounds, 6'6". I don't see him playing a lot this year, even though he's very talented. Now it talks about offensive scheme. Josh Heupel's high-tempo offense is seen as a good match for Retzlaff's strengths, including his quick decision-making and RPO option background. He likes to run. And, of course, Tennessee offers him a chance to play in the SEC right away, maybe. And, of course, it also talks about his honor code violation, 7-game suspension, and that the lawsuit was dismissed. Now, he's a graduate student, so he's already got his degree, meaning he can transfer anytime he wants. Once you reach that level, you don't have to wait for any portal to open, and that's why he can transfer. He doesn't have to sit there with the 7-game suspension. So let's talk about the 5 teams that people are talking about. And you may or may not agree with this, and I understand that. And this is on the Saturday Blitz. And if you'll remember last year, BYU started out 9-0. They wound up 11-2. Here it says Tennessee makes the most sense, would give Retzlaff his best opportunity at a big-time school anyway. Of course, it talks about the same thing, Nico and then Joey and all of that. And then big talk of Josh Heupel's offense would be a good fit for him. But would Joey stay? Now, Joey is not a graduate student. However, it's 2025. I'm not going to sit here and say that he couldn't transfer. So you might end up bringing Jake in and losing Joey. I don't know if that's a risk you're willing to take. That's why I think this would be a tough decision for Josh. Not only there is the appearance that you'd have to deal with, plus you could lose Joey. You don't know what Jake Merklinger's thinking. I mean, it's when you bring somebody in this late, it's very difficult. That's why that whole spring portal thing with Nico and all of that was such a disaster. Because look, all these teams have pretty much got their quarterback. Well, they've got their quarterback situation where they want it or where it's going to be for the most part. It's just weird when you have somebody pop in that's, got a ton of experience and wins everywhere he goes and has started at the Power 4 level. So this is a very tricky situation for a coach right now. You've got to really be in need to take somebody on this late, and they'd have to learn the offense. Another possibility is Stanford. He is from California. Give him a chance to return to his home state. Interim head coach Frank Reich. I remember him. He's former quarterback, played in the NFL, was quite good. So that's a possibility. Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, this is one that people are talking about as just bringing him in as an experienced guy. But I just don't see Alabama going that route. They've got 3 big-time quarterbacks there. Ty Simpson, who was a 5-star. They got Austin Mack, who was a top 100 guy and has been with Kalen DeBoer for a couple of years. And then they've got a 5-star freshman who's supposed to be terrific. So that's a big powder keg to just go off in your quarterback room. I don't think Alabama is a real possibility. Maryland Terrapins. This is certainly possible. They've got Malik Washington. It sounds like they're a little bit uncertain at quarterback, so that is a possibility. And then UNLV Rebels, Group of 5 destination. That'd be, him dropping down, which I don't know how good that'd be for your NFL prospects. And if you want to have an idea where he's ranked amongst all the other quarterbacks, well, he's obviously the highest ranked guy that's out there that is even a possibility for a transfer. And they've got him in the top 20. And as you can see, they've got him at number 19. They don't have a team next to him because they know he's not going to be at BYU. So he's in the top 20. And Nico's number 16. And Joey, I don't believe, is on this list. And here are some players that Tennessee was interested in. I know they were interested in Avery Johnson. Luke Altmaier, I know they were very interested in him. Sam Levitt would have been without question. Had Tennessee known that Nico was going to transfer, they'd have gone heavy after John Mateer. Also, Rocco Becht from Iowa State, I believe they were pretty interested in him. So there's a lot of players on this list that Tennessee would have gone after had they known in the winter. And here's another story that was in Sporting News, landing destinations for Jake. It talks about the Tennessee Vols right off the top. And, of course, it said the very same thing about Nico and then Joey Aguilar. So that's a second story about this, putting Tennessee at the top of the list. Then Alabama, again, wanting some experience. I'm not confident in that. And then Maryland, everybody's pretty much seeing those top 3 teams there. There's also talk of Notre Dame because they don't have an experienced quarterback either. They've got some talented guys there, but that wouldn't be a total shock. I just don't know that I tell you, here's the thing. Even though the civil suit's been withdrawn and all of that, never charged, it's still, it's 2025. This is a touchy subject for folks. So it's not easy to just say, oh, yeah, we're going to bring somebody in. Not only do you disturb your quarterback room in you throw a hand grenade into it, you also are going to have some folks that aren't happy that you brought somebody in, regardless of what happened. Whether it's true, not true, etc., there's always that risk. So head coaches get paid a lot of money. They got to make tough decisions. This is one. Will Tennessee be interested in Jake? I'm sure Jake is very interested in them. He may not have a lot of options. I don't think that he does for the host of reasons we've talked about. It's just a matter of where he wants to go. Will they accept him? I think that's more than anything. He's very talented. He's got a lot of moxie out there on the field. If you watched him play, he's quite good. I don't know. This is not an easy story for me to cover, but it's something that I felt like I needed to bring to your attention. I'm sure I'll take some grief over even talking about it, but it is what it is, folks. This is the news, and I comment on it. So Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know continue to cover all these big college sports stories. And if you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit that button right there. Will not cost you a dime, help you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay. I know I'm going to be hearing a lot of opinions in the comment section on this one. Shoo.